The character and the heart of this team was unlike anything I've ever been. For us, it does excite us in terms of, we're going to regroup and get guys healthy and get back after it. And so
Mike McDonald whooped Kyle Shanahan's ass. This was a bad Kyle Shanahan game.
We were able to run the play, but when it's noisy, I can't totally fault them for that. I don't know exactly how it happened. I didn't know that there was a timeout called, so I saw the play, and so did they, obviously. But sometimes when a coach calls a timeout, you can't get it all the way to the main guy, so is what it is.
If you want to get momentum going in your favor, getting a home crowd behind you, return the kickoff for a touchdown. They did that, and that snowball got bigger and bigger and bigger as it rolled downhill, and San Francisco could not get out of the way of that snowball.
That wasn't just a loss. That was a public execution. That was the San Francisco 49ers getting dismantled, demolished, and downright embarrassed on national television by their division rival, Seattle Seahawks, in the divisional round of the playoffs. And yet, in the wreckage of one of the most lopsided playoff beatdowns in recent memory, Brock Purdy is going absolutely viral for what he said after the game. Not for making excuses, not for pointing fingers, but for showing exactly why this kid might be the real deal, even when his team just got steamrolled.
That was a bloodbath. That was tough to watch. That was ugly.
The 49ers walked into Seattle needing perfection. They got annihilation. A 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown on the opening play. 7-0 before most fans even found their seats.
Rashid Shaheed, a trade deadline acquisition for John Schneider, a move that I applauded at the time as one of my favorites for any team at the NFL trade deadline, begins the game with a 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Lumen Field was literally shaking.
By the end of the first quarter, it was 17-zip. By halftime, 24-6. Final score, 41-6. 9 combined points across the last 2 meetings with Seattle. 0 touchdowns in those games. 0.
The Niners in the last 2 games this year against Seattle went 8 quarters without scoring a single touchdown.
This wasn't just a loss. This was a systematic dismantling of everything the 49ers thought they were. And Brock Purdy, the guy who was running for his life all night, the quarterback whose offensive line couldn't protect him, whose receivers combined for 3 catches on 10 targets for a whopping 24 yards, he stood at that podium and took it on the chin.
Yeah, man, obviously a good team, but I feel like, we just sort of similar as the last game in terms of you need to capitalize on third downs and some of those 4th and shorts. That's what comes to mind first.
No deflection, no blaming the offensive line that got absolutely manhandled, no crying about the injuries that plagued this team all season, just straight accountability. Third downs, 4th and shorts, the moments that matter, they didn't capitalize, period. But here's where it gets interesting. Here's where Brock Purdy shows you why the internet is losing its mind over his post-game comments. When asked if he could understand what the team overcame this season despite the brutal loss, Purdy didn't retreat into safe corporate speak. He didn't give you the generic, "we'll be better next year" nonsense. He got real.
Obviously when it just got taken away from us and Kyle's talking to us just about the year, and you reflect a little bit, it does feel good just in terms of, being reminded of like guys stepping up and the resiliency, like the character and the heart of this team was unlike anything I've ever been a part of.
Unlike anything he's ever been a part of. Think about that. This is a guy who just got beat by 35 points in a playoff game, and he's standing there talking about heart and character, not as a deflection, not as a cop-out, but as genuine respect for what this team battled through. And he's not wrong. This 49ers team was decimated by injuries. Fred Warner, their defensive captain, their heart and soul, couldn't play. Nick Bosa, out. Brandon Ayuk missed the entire season. George Kittle, done for the playoffs. This team was playing with its 5th, 6th, and 7th string linebackers. They were piecing together a defense with duct tape and prayers, while their offense tried to survive without its best weapons. 12-5 in the regular season, a playoff win over Philadelphia, all while playing musical chairs with their roster due to injuries that would have sunk most teams by October. Kyle Shanahan said it himself in his post-game presser. When talking about Christian McCaffrey's season, he called it one of the most impressive individual performances he's ever seen. A warrior emptying the tank week after week with no bye until December. But back to Brock. What's making people lose their minds isn't just the accountability, it's the awareness. It's the football IQ on full display, even in defeat. When asked if why Seattle has had their number, Purdy didn't make excuses. He broke down their defensive scheme like he was studying film in real time.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret in terms of, their style of play. It's, try to make the quarterback check it down and play deep to short, and then within that have a good pass rush. And, that's a good defense, man. Like, it's a smart way to play.
He's not bitter. He's not making excuses. He's giving credit where it's due. Mike McDonald's defense played chess while the 49ers were stuck playing checkers. They forced Purdy into checkdowns. They took away the big plays. They brought pressure at the right times.
In the last 2 games of the year, between the Seahawks and the Niners, Mike McDonald whooped Kyle Shanahan's ass.
And when you combine that with an offensive line that couldn't protect and receivers who couldn't get separation, you get exactly what we saw, a massacre. But here's what separates Brock Purdy from so many other quarterbacks who would have folded under that kind of pressure, who would have pointed fingers or hidden behind injuries. When asked directly about his performance, he owned it, while also acknowledging the impossible situation. The kid made plays. Even Kyle Shanahan, who looked like he aged 10 years during that game, admitted Brock made some throws out there.
It was pretty good, but I thought Brock made a number of plays out there. But on the second half, it got away from all of us.
But when you're getting destroyed on both lines of scrimmage, when your defense has given up short fields all night because your offense keeps turning it over, when you're down so much that you have to abandon the run game completely against a defense that doesn't give up big plays, what are you supposed to do? Let's talk about those turnovers for a second. 3-0 in Seattle's favor. 4th down stops that might as well be turnovers. Add 2 more. That's 5 possessions where San Francisco gave the ball away or failed to convert in critical moments.
The Seahawks scored 27 points tonight off turnovers. So obviously, the Seahawks would have won if San Francisco didn't turn the football over. They would have won 14-6, but they took advantage of every single turnover on downs, a fumble, interception.
27 points off turnovers. You're not winning any game when you're handing the other team that kind of field position, that kind of opportunity, and Brock Purdy knows it. But what's really resonating with people, what's making this go viral, is what he said at the end. Because after all the football talk, after breaking down coverages and acknowledging Seattle's dominance, Brock Purdy showed you his heart.
Get back after it. And so we are excited for the future, but obviously right now it just sucks because the loss is fresh in our mouth.
Fresh in our mouth, not fresh in our minds, in our mouth, like he can taste the defeat, like it's something tangible he can't swallow. That's the kind of raw, unfiltered emotion that cuts through all the sports cliches and reminds you these are real people who care deeply about winning. And the internet is eating it up. Not because he made excuses, not because he threw anyone under the bus, but because in an era where athletes are trained to say nothing, to be robots in post-game pressers, Brock Purdy is being authentically himself, hurt, disappointed, but still standing tall. The tape doesn't lie. Seattle's defense is elite.
Because they got a really good defense. They got a real good defense. I liked how we came to play in that first half a lot more. I thought we were much more ready. I thought we were moving the ball.
They're the Houston Texans of the NFC in terms of physicality and violence. They don't just tackle you, they impose their will on you. They swarm like ants to a crumb, playing with 18 guys instead of 11. That's how it felt watching them demolish San Francisco's offense. The 49ers had 1 drive over 50 yards all game. 1.
The Seahawks scored 41 points. They had 1 drive of more than 50 yards in this game.
Seattle's defense didn't just win, they made a statement. Mike McDonald outcoached Kyle Shanahan for the 2nd straight game, 54-9. That's the combined score of the last 2 meetings, 0 touchdowns for San Francisco across 8 quarters of football. Let that sink in. But here's the thing about Brock Purdy's viral moment. It's not about moral victories. It's not about participation trophies. It's about a young quarterback who understands the big picture while still feeling the sting of the moment. He knows this team overachieved given the circumstances. He knows guys stepped up when stars went down. He knows there's genuine heart in that locker room. And he also knows they got their asses kicked. Both things can be true.
The Niners wide receivers tonight had 3 catches for 24 yards on 10 targets. You think Seattle fears that wide receiver room? They don't.
Can they finally figure out how to stay healthy? Can they keep both coordinators, or will they lose Robert Saleh and Clint Kubiak to head coaching jobs? These are legitimate concerns, real problems that Kyle Shanahan acknowledged they'll address starting Monday when they reconvene. But in the immediate aftermath of the worst playoff loss in recent franchise history, Brock Purdy showed you something money can't buy: leadership, perspective, accountability, and genuine emotion. He didn't hide from the microphone. He didn't give you robotic answers. He stood there, took every question, and gave you real answers even when the truth hurt.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're fresh out of a game, and our goal was obviously to come in here, win, and go to the NFC Championship game, and go from there. But obviously, when it just got taken away from us, and Kyle's talking to us just about the year, and you reflect a little bit.
The 49ers season is over, done, finished in humiliating fashion. But how you respond to that kind of humiliation, that's what leaders do. That's what franchise quarterbacks do. They own the moment, good or bad, and they set the tone for what comes next. Seattle is moving on to host the NFC Championship game. Sam Darnold, oblique injury and all, only had to throw 17 passes because his defense and Kenneth Walker did all the heavy lifting. The Seahawks are legitimate Super Bowl contenders now, and they did it by completely neutralizing everything San Francisco tried to do. But don't count out the 49ers, not with a quarterback who can stand at that podium after getting destroyed and still talk about heart, character, and the future with genuine belief. Not with a coach in Kyle Shanahan who, despite this disaster, showed last week against Philly how elite he can be. Not with the talent they'll get back healthy next year. Brock Purdy is going viral because in a moment where most would crumble or deflect, he showed exactly why the 49ers believe in him, not just as a quarterback, but as the guy. 41-6 is brutal. It's embarrassing. It's the kind of loss that sticks with you all offseason. But how you respond to that kind of adversity, that's what defines you. And based on what Brock Purdy said after this game, the 49ers might be in better hands than people think. The loss is fresh in their mouth right now, but the taste will fade, the lessons will remain, and when they run it back next season with a third-place schedule and hopefully better health, don't be surprised if this moment becomes the fuel that drives them, because Brock Purdy just showed you he's got the heart for it, the character for it, and the awareness to learn from it. That's why he's going viral. That's why people are talking, and that's why, despite this massacre in Seattle, the future in San Francisco might still be bright.